This is our moment.
I'm your host, Corey Phillips.
Time to be great than today.
Offtop Podcast.
It's a play. Bryant for the lead. Yes!
Hello. Welcome. Offtop Podcast. Welcome. It is Tuesday, December 7th, episode 13. I was right on that, right? Mm-hmm. It's episode 13. Anyway. Episode 13. Welcome to Offtop Podcast. I'm your host, Big Corey. To my left, we got a special guest tonight. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yo. What's good? It's Durty Money in the building. Thanks for having me, Corey.
Welcome on. Appreciate it. We're gonna talk some. We're gonna get into some sports stuff. Obviously, we're talking about some sports stuff, but I mean, that's what we talk on this podcast about.
I hope so. I'm glad I'm in the right place.
Yes, exactly. Hey guys, like, subscribe, and share the page, please. We're on all social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. I just looked on the Apple Podcast today, and sure enough, boom, it popped up. So, thanks, Durty, for coming in.
Yes, sir.
We got some NBA stuff we're going to get into. I am super excited to talk about this new Matrix trailer that came out today. As you know, tickets are on sale right now, as we speak, right now, for Matrix Resurrection, which comes out December 22nd. Spider-Man, Spidey is out in theaters next week. I already got my tickets locked in. I'm probably going to go see it twice in the first weekend it's out. You got Spider-Man tickets?
Not yet.
No.
I'm working on it. I'm waiting for the Matrix, really. That's my end game here.
Matrix is going to be... In this trailer, we're going to talk about it here shortly, but it opens up a lot on the actual storyline. Like, the first trailer was dope. With the music in the background, the song that's playing. But this one, you kind of get a sneak peek into what the storyline is going to be about, what it's based off of. So that's what I got the feel from watching this trailer this morning. So I'm super excited about that. Got some college football I want to get into. The college playoff is set. A little disappointed at how this past weekend turned out, because some of the teams I thought were going to get in, or I thought they were going to drop off, didn't. So I got disappointed there, but we're going to talk about that. Some NFL stuff. The NFL season is starting to wind down here. We got a lot of
big games left.
A lot of good games left.
Yeah.
A lot of playoff implication games between both the AFC and the NFC. The AFC is wide open.
Oh, yeah.
The NFC, there's about, if you're trying to sneak in to get one of those last couple of wild card spots, there are still a bunch of teams in the mix for that in the NFC as well. We're going to get into that, some coaching changes over the week. But I want to start off NBA tonight, and just went final. As you know, I am a huge Lakers fan, and the Lakers won tonight.
Yes, sir.
117-102 was the final. I watched that game for probably the first half. Lakers started off slow. Get some fresh young legs of the Boston Celtics. But LeBron James and Russell Westbrook combined for 54 points tonight. Played good defensively in the second half. Kind of turned it up right before the end of the first half. Took like a 6-point lead and just continued it through the second half. So a solid 117-102 victory. After the news that broke today, or in the last 48 hours, about Frank Vogel talking about maybe his job was in danger. Mind you, Frank Vogel is an NBA champion coach.
True that.
He did take the Lakers to the NBA Finals 2 years ago during COVID, during the bubble down in Orlando.
And they dominated that whole playoff.
Exactly.
That whole playoff.
There's a little bit of heat. Frank Vogel coming under some heat as the Lakers have been kind of struggling out the gate. I mean, they're 13-12 with that win tonight. They're sixth in the West with Golden State and Phoenix obviously dominating right now in the beginning of the season. Your thoughts?
I mean, at the end of the day, bro, it's so early on. It's so hard to tell how this is really going to play out. Yeah, you know, LA is a deep, talented roster. I know it's a lot of vets, and I know it's a lot of guys who are considered old in this league. But they did that on purpose. They don't want to have a bunch of young guns out there that they gotta trust with the ball in clutch moments. They know what they have all through and throughout. So at the end of the day, I mean, getting the win versus Boston, who's a young team, who's also in the playoff run every year, that's a good step in the right direction at the end of the day. And Frank Vogel's job is not in danger.
Well, LeBron was asked by some of the reporters, hey, what do you think? Is Frank Vogel's job in jeopardy? He's like, LeBron answers with, it was kind of an answer that I kind of expected from LeBron because it was so open-ended, and he left the door open.
I mean, he did the same thing to Spolstra, though.
Yeah.
He did the same thing in Miami.
But here's the thing, though. This is different.
That's true.
Because LeBron James back then, Eric Spoelstra stayed on, and he coached him with 2 championships, right?
True.
LeBron James is, how old is he? 38, 39?
Getting up there.
Time's running out for this man. So, I mean, you assemble this team.
36.
Is he 36?
Yeah, he's like, bro, he's young. He came in the league at 18.
He's been in the league for so long. Anyway, 36, 38, time is not on his side. Father Time always catches up. And what I'm saying is, when he was asked the question, he goes, well, scrutiny and criticism comes with the job. We like having him here. So he didn't give a yeah or a no if LeBron James didn't get a yes or a no if he wants him still there or not. He left the door open. Like, hey, if there's an opportunity to bring in this guy, because what are the Lakers going to do? And when it comes to this roster, if push comes to shove, you keep LeBron James happy and keeping the players that he wants there, or do you get rid of Frank Vogel? Which one do you think is going to happen?
He's the king.
Exactly.
That guy's going to win them rings, not Frank Vogel.
I get that. So, you're looking at the camaraderie and the overall cohesion of the team. And right now, and here's the thing. Here's my personal opinion about it. Anthony Davis needs to step his game up. He has not played up to his potential. Yes, he's averaging 24 points a game. Yes, he's averaging 10 rebounds a game. But we need more from that. You're considered one of the top 5 players in this league. Mm-hmm. I need you to step your game up. LeBron is not his age. He shouldn't be carrying the load. And Russell Westbrook, too. Yeah. But Russell Westbrook is out there giving it from an optics standpoint, it looks like he's giving more effort than Anthony Davis. So that's where I'm at with it. I think the Lakers might need to consider, because of the news that came down today about Damian Lillard, asking to be the highest paid player in the league, and asking for a 2-year, $107 million extension today is a chess piece like, hey, I want out of Portland. So maybe you consider, hey, you do a swap with Portland for Russell Westbrook, maybe some draft picks or some capital, whatever. Whatever you need to do to get Damian Lillard on your team, I would highly consider. What are your thoughts?
Do it. Do it. Like there's no reason not to do it. I mean, Dame Lillard, other than Steph Curry, is the best 3-point shooter in the NBA.
Oh, man.
Dame Lillard right now is probably one of 3 guys that truly has a team on his back.
Yeah.
And consistently overperforms what that team is really skilled at. And at the end of the day, like don't get me wrong, CJ McCollum's nice, you know. But back when and Vucevic, who's there now, is like but at the end of the day, that team is so dependent on Dame. Dame goes down, they're below 500 guaranteed.
Big shout out to CJ McCollum. Had the collapsed lung today. Hope he gets better. He did not go on a team plane. Did not come with the team on their upcoming road trip, but McCollum is out indefinitely, so big shout out to CJ McCollum. I hope you get better, my friend. Not a lot of games in the docket for the NBA tonight. I think there were only 3. Now, I did watch the Brooklyn Nets and Dallas Mavericks game. Mavericks on a 4-game losing skid, and it goes up to 5 as the Nets come down. They were down 17 points at the half. Come back and beat the Dallas Mavericks 102-99. And then the Knicks beat the Spurs 121-109. The Knicks are very underrated, but they're really, really good. They had 6 players in double digits tonight, including R.J. Barrett, who was the lead scorer for the Knicks. So, and then the Lakers beat the Celtics. So those were only 3 games on the docket. R.J. Barrett, 32 points, 11 from 20 shooting. That is proficiency at its finest.
I don't think enough people talk about how far the Knicks have come in 2 years. I mean, that team was the laughingstock of the league not that long ago.
Yeah, the Knicks are good.
And now they're back in the playoff hunt. They got a solid roster around them. I mean, Julius Randle is probably their best player right now, but it's, they've got a lot of room and a lot of growth, and they're probably a superstar away from being a real contender.
Yeah, the Knicks, I agree with that 100%. I think the Knicks, right now they're not playing as good as they were last year, but last year at this time they weren't really playing well either. They were about a 500 ball team, which they are right now. Obviously, Brooklyn and Chicago are the top 2 in the East right now, but do not count out those Milwaukee Bucks, those defending world champions. But the East is wide open. I mean, you got to consider Philly's good. Washington right now, they're sitting at 14-11. I think that's an admiration. I think they'll come back down to earth here quickly. Don't forget about Boston, and Atlanta is still legit. So a lot could be played out. I mean, we're only, 24, 25 games into the season. We're still early. I mean, for me, the official start of the NBA season is when Christmas time comes. Yeah. But we'll get into the Christmas slate later on. But as we move forward to the NFL, a lot to get into with the NFL. A lot to digest from this past week. If anybody watched the game last night, Monday Night Football, I personally was watching it with Peyton and Eli. I was flipping back and forth between the regular the official broadcast and then listening to Peyton and Eli. You had some guests on there. David Letterman was on there. A couple of players were on there. But listening to Eli and Peyton and dissecting this game, which it wasn't really much to dissect because there wasn't a lot of passes thrown. It was defense and running game last night. But there was a couple games over this weekend that really got me excited a little bit. Obviously, the Seahawks winning. Yeah, I know. So, for anybody who knows, this guy over here is a huge Broncos fan.
Yes, sir.
Hi,
baby.
And then everybody knows my story. I like Seahawks and Rams. This week was a get-right game for the Rams, as the Rams won 37-7, as predicted, as everybody knew they were going to win this game. Everybody knew they needed to win this game. Everybody knew that they were on a downhill slide because they've lost their last 3 after starting the season 8-1. So the Rams needed a get-right game, and they got that in the form of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which, to be honest with you, it was done after the third quarter. Basically, the beginning of the third quarter was wrapped.
It was a slacking throughout. I mean, LA's just got too much firepower in Jacksonville. They ain't got enough players.
Yeah, correct.
That's just how it is. Trevor Lawrence is a nice kid. I think he can still have a good career in this league, but that boy needs help everywhere he can get it. He's got one good player down there with him.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a year or two to get this team rebuilt as far as Jacksonville goes. Yeah. The Rams just have too much weapons on both sides of the ball. So, the game of the week, which everybody was talking about, which we thought were going to be an exciting game, but then as you crept closer to Monday Night Football, you heard the weather reports. You heard it was going to be snowing, which New England is used to it because they play in Foxborough. And Buffalo is used to it because they're the home team.
Buffalo, baby.
Wasn't a really exciting game. It was basically ground and pound. I mean, the win was, if you watch the game and what some of these field goals and these kickoffs and even some of these passes, the weather was completely affecting the status of this ball game. But the Patriots ended up beating them out 14-10. Some great defense down the stretch by New England. And they proved once again, even I thought Buffalo was going to beat them. I honestly did. I had bet on Buffalo winning. I thought the Patriots were due for a loss. They've won 4 straight. I thought they were due to the loss. Here's the thing with Buffalo. Their thing is their running situation is atrocious. Yeah. They can't get the run established. You got Zach Moss back there, Devin Singletary, and then you brought in Matt Breida, right? And you knew it was going to be a run and gun type of game. Josh Allen wasn't really accurate based on his performance, but the elements were keeping him from being accurate.
I still find it so hard from just watching that game, man, that a guy who played college football in Wyoming, right, who's 6'7", he's got a cannon for an arm, plays in Buffalo. How is he the one struggling throwing the ball in the snow? And yet you got Mac Jones, who didn't play all that great, but Mac Jones made enough plays to win the game.
Well, Mac Jones, he didn't throw Josh Allen's numbers, he went 15 for 30, 145 yards, 1 touchdown. Mac Jones only threw the ball 3 times.
Yeah.
Damian Harris, 10 carries for 111 yards. Stevenson, 24 carries, 78 yards. Brandon Bolden, 4 carries for 28 yards. Everybody seemed to kick in and pitch in the running game.
Yeah, but what was Mac Jones' completion percentage on those 3 passes?
That doesn't matter. He's 2 for 3 for 19 yards,
and they won the game.
No, I'm giving it up to him. The defense played excellent. Yeah, that is excellent defense. If you look at the running numbers for Buffalo, Josh Allen was the leading rusher for the Buffalo Bills. 6 carries for 39 yards. Devin Singletary, 10 carries for 36 yards. Zach Moss, 8 carries for 21 yards. Matt Breida, 1 carry for 3 yards. They had Matt Breida more in a passing game. He completed a pass. But Stephon Diggs was your leading receiver, 4 catches for 51 yards, no touchdowns. So I look at it from this point, the Patriots can play in any type of game that they want to. It seems like it. If they need to ground and pound and run the game, their defense is stout. That defense is really good. And now, they're sitting on top of the AFC, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're first place right now.
Exactly. We're going to break down the AFC here right now.
Right now?
Right now, because it needs to be on record of where this team was and now how they are right now. New England has the number 1 seed in the AFC. They are 9-4. We have Tennessee at 8-4. Baltimore, because of a tiebreaker, they're sitting in the 3rd seed at 8-4. KC has won 4 straight out of the depths of hell from the bottom of the barrel of the AFC West. Has now reclaimed the division lead at 8-4. They've won 4 straight, and we're gonna get into them in a second because that offense is still not right, even though they've won 4 straight games. Then you got. There's your 4 division winners. Then you got Los Angeles, the Chargers, sitting at 7-5. Cincinnati, that was an ugly loss from them last week. Brutal. They're sitting at 7-5. And Buffalo has now slid to the 7th spot at 7-5.
And there's so many teams in the hunt.
Well, you look at the teams in the hunt. Indianapolis is there at 7-6.
Pittsburgh
is 6-5-1. Pittsburgh with a big win over Baltimore over the weekend. The Raiders 6-6. The Broncos, your Broncos, are sitting at 6-6 as well.
The Browns at 6-6.
The Browns are 6-6 as well, but I think the Browns have.
I think they're going to playoffs.
I think they are on a downhill spiral.
Is this Baker's last year?
I don't know if it's Baker's last year.
I like Baker personally. I really do. I think the kid plays with nuts, and I think you need that in the NFL a little bit. I think he's a little over the top sometimes, but you can't say that the kid doesn't have the confidence to play the position.
Okay, that's fair. I think the offensive line has gotten better. I think they need some better weapons on the outside for him.
Yeah.
And that's his biggest problem. Your best receiver is
the slot guy.
Yes. It's not working. You need something else.
They need a big target on the outside, somebody that's gonna go get jump balls.
Because
that was supposed to be Odell.
Right. The defense is great. They got big names all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
There's no problem with the defense.
No.
But it's the offense that is lacked. I don't know if maybe it's the coaching. Maybe they need to be more innovative in their play calling. I don't think it's all Baker. I think Baker has he has to take some sort of accountability.
Yeah.
Because he's missed on several throws this season, and he's not 100%.
True.
He's not 100%.
He's playing hurt.
Yes. And then the final team that I think people are sleeping on that you should take notice is the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are really, really, they're playing well. They have won 3 straight, and that defense is coming together. They're playing solid. They're 6-7. My sound guy, Carson, is looking at me crazy because I mentioned the Miami Dolphins. Do not count these brothers out. They have won 3 straight. I'm telling you right now. And they're in the mix. They're 6-7. They got a bye week coming up. But my sleeper team from the beginning of the season was the Indianapolis Colts. So I am personally cheering for them to make it. And right now they're on the verge of making it. But they're going to need some help. I don't know the rest of the schedule as we're going into week 14 this week. Mm-hmm. It starts to get very interesting. Now, in the NFC, as we know, Arizona, who has the best record in the NFL, has the number 1 seed at 10-2. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins coming back this week. Get right game against Chicago. Blew the doors off of them. They got a big test this Monday night as they face the Los Angeles Rams. We're sitting at your 5th seed. So your number 1 seed is Arizona. Here's where it gets interesting. You got a number 2 seed in the Green Bay Packers who are trailing Arizona by a game and also holds a tiebreaker over them because Green Bay is one of Arizona's 2 losses. Then you have Tampa, the defending champs, sitting at 9-3. Dallas, with the win this week, puts them at 8-4. And then here's where it gets interesting because that 5th seed, so if the playoffs start today, Dallas would be playing the Los Angeles Rams, who are also 8-4. Not a good way to come out of the first round of the wild card weekend.
Brutal game.
Tampa would play your 6th seed, which is Washington. Washington sitting at 6-6. So this game this week against Dallas and Washington ends up being quite a big matchup. And we'll talk about that as we go on down. And then your 7th seed is the San Francisco 49ers. Good Lord have mercy. The San Francisco 49ers. They've risen. They like the Kansas City Chiefs. They've risen out of the depths of hell, and now they're back in it. Deebo Samuel, man, he might be my MVP the way he's playing. And then you have some teams on the outside looking in. Philly sitting at 6-7. We got 4, 5, and 7 teams in Minnesota, Carolina, Atlanta, and New Orleans. Okay. And then by some miracle, you have 2, 8, 4, and 8. You have 3, 4, and 8 teams with the New York Giants, the Chicago Bears, and the Seattle Seahawks.
Who in theory haven't been eliminated yet.
By the numbers, the Seahawks have not been eliminated as of today. They are 4-8 and 2 games out of the wild card with 5 to play. So I ask you, out of the AFC, let's start with the AFC. Who do you think are the pretenders, and who do you think are the contenders?
The pretenders, I think.
If you look here, where we go, the wild card games as of right now.
Yeah.
New England would get the first round bye.
Okay.
You have your 2 versus 7. That would be Tennessee versus Buffalo. Tennessee having the home field. Mm-hmm. Your 3 versus 6. It would be a divisional rivalry between Baltimore and Cincinnati. Okay. Baltimore with the home advantage, and then your 4th versus 5th. KC versus the Los Angeles Chargers. So as of right now, who are you saying are your pretenders and who are you saying your contenders are in the AFC?
I think the biggest pretender in the AFC is the Titans. They look like a hollowed version of themselves without Derrick Henry back there.
Yeah.
And I know that team is well coached and the defense plays good football and Ryan Tannehill doesn't make mistakes, but he's not that kind of QB that you can shoulder the whole workload on. He's just not that kind of guy. He's there to be a glorified game manager, but you saw with Joe Flacco that works and you can win championships with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think to me in Buffalo, I know Buffalo's on a downturn right now and they're playing some rough football and the running game's been struggling, but Josh Allen's a damn good quarterback. Josh Allen up until about 3-4 weeks ago was in the MVP conversation pretty easily. And I think that Buffalo, if, especially going to Tennessee without Derrick Henry, I think they can win that game. Because I think their defense is good enough to beat Tennessee.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the way it's seeding right now, and I just ran through the scenarios right now,
Mm-hmm.
who do you think has the best shot to win the AFC right now?
To win the AFC right now?
And to go to the Super Bowl?
I think New England does.
Okay.
I really think the Pats do. This is the end-all, be-all proof that Bill Belichick knew what he was doing. If the Patriots can win the AFC this year with Mac Jones, then he's going to win the argument on the long term without Tom Brady. I truly believe that. And I think the fact that they're sitting at number one when about 6-7 weeks ago they were at the bottom of the division with a rookie quarterback and nobody really knew what they were going to do, I think New England's the biggest problem because if they get the home field advantage, it's a hard place to go and win games. Rookie QB or not.
All right. So you're saying Tennessee is a pretender
Mm-hmm.
and New England is a contender.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'm going to counter that with this. The pretender I'm going to go with right now. And as I'm looking at it, and I think it is the Cincinnati Bengals. I honestly think the Cincinnati Bengals will not make the playoffs. I think they are going to slide in these last 3 or 4 weeks. And you're going to see either
Joe Burrow dirty.
Either Indianapolis or Pittsburgh take one of those final slots. Wow. I honestly do.
You think Big Ben got one more in there?
I think Big Ben has one more run in them. They're 6-5-1. They just beat Baltimore, who is, by the way, your 3rd seed.
True. Yeah.
They're not playing good offensively, but where it counts is where they're playing good defensively. And they are running the football well. So I like either Pittsburgh or Indianapolis to take that. Wow. But Indianapolis, man, I'm telling you, Jonathan Taylor, he's another MVP candidate.
As of right now, I think he is the MVP.
Yeah, he probably is the MVP. If Carson Wentz can limit the mistakes, I think it's going to be one of those two. I think Cincinnati has too many tough divisional games down the stretch, and they're going to slide. They're going to come back down to earth. They're playing 7-5 right now.
Yeah,
they're still in it, but I just think it's too close to call, and they're still a young team. The team I think is going to win the AFC as of right now. Now, I choose the right to change this because there's still games left to play.
Insurance.
I'm locking in my shirt. Shit, there's 5 more weeks.
Yeah.
So right now, part of me wants to go with KC because I think they're gonna make that turn here sometime soon. But right now, it's hard for me to go against New England. But I think Baltimore's got a shot.
If there's a team that can go to New England and win,
it's Baltimore.
It's Harbaugh. Harbaugh's
it is Baltimore.
Don't they have some ridiculous record? Like they've never lost in Baltimore in the first playoff game.
Lamar Jackson, man, I'm telling you, even though they just lost to Pittsburgh this past week, it was a hell of a game. I still think I think Lamar Jackson is throwing the ball better. He is going through his progressions and finding open receivers a lot better. And the defense is playing tremendous, even though they just lost this week. They're still a 3rd seed. And I still think they're 8-4. I still think they might climb into that 1 seed because they're only a half a game behind New England. New England hasn't had a bye week yet. Baltimore has.
It's true.
So they can still climb and get that 1 seed. And if they do, good luck trying to go into Baltimore winning in December and January. That's a hard place to play in the playoffs. Now, let's get to the NFC, the juicy stuff. So,
it's complex conference in sports.
again, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Okay.
NFC, who is your pretender and who is your contender as of right now with the standings the way they are?
My contender and my pretender. I think.
Start with the pretender first.
I think the biggest pretender of the group right now is the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think that's a playoff team.
Oh.
I still don't. I know they're playing good right now. But Jimmy Garoppolo, and hear me out. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Matt Ryan right now, and I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than whoever the Saints throw in there right now. So I'd be almost willing to bet that they don't even make the playoffs at this point, and that one of those 2 NFC South teams will slide in there.
Oh man,
there's 5 games left.
There's 5 games.
There's 5 games left. That's a lot of time, just like you said.
It is a lot of time.
And I think, like you said about Big Ben, Matt Ryan's kind of in a similar spot. He's a little bit older now.
So wait. Are you telling me that the Falcons are going to get that 7th and last wildcard spot?
I think so. I think Atlanta can. I think they can do it. I think Cordell Patterson's extremely dynamic for that team.
Are we recording this?
Yeah, you are. You heard it here first.
Unfortunately.
The Broncos fan is saying the Falcons are going to go to the playoffs.
Lord.
If you see by episode 17 that I was right, then you'll know.
Okay, what's your contender then?
The contender is the Packers, for sure. It's Green Bay. LA's real close. Don't get me wrong. I think the Rams are right in there too. The 3 games slid up until Jacksonville makes me a little hesitant to be like LA for sure.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers is on a mission right now. That guy is Super Bowl or bust, and he's trying to prove a point. Now, I don't think Green Bay has done him any favors personally. They need to get that man another playmaker, somebody besides Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones out there to go catch footballs for Aaron Rodgers. At this point in his career, he needs it. But he's not playing like he's his age. He's still throwing the ball like Patrick Mahomes and gunning it around. And I think Aaron Rodgers, although his stats aren't as big as they normally are for this time of the year, I think that's the most dangerous quarterback in the NFC other than Tom Brady going into the playoffs. And I think the team overall is better than the Bucs right now.
You know, I look at this list and I'm seeing like San Francisco is the 7th seed right now, and I'm just looking at who's behind them, and there's no real team that stands out that I'm like, oh, I can see them catching up and making a push here towards the end.
I'm not
even Philly at 6 and 7, and they got divisional games down the stretch. I'm looking at it. Look, you got 5 teams. You got 4 teams at 5 and 7. That none of these teams I am willing to put money on the line saying they're going to make it. Because I'm rolling towards Washington. I think they're pretenders, and I think they're a victim of the circumstances that the NFC West is.
Yeah, I don't think Washington's a pretender. I think they're a playoff team by circumstance. You know?
Right. I don't even put. I'm going to put San Francisco in that level of pretender. Because I just think based on their record and how these last 4 weeks have gone for them, and you look at the rest of the competition, there's nobody else that really stands out. Hey, Atlanta is okay, but you got divisional games down the stretch. You're not beating Tampa again.
No,
you're not. You got Carolina down the stretch.
They'll beat Carolina.
You know what I mean? Like Carolina's
they
another
can't figure
5
out
and
who
17.
the quarterback is anymore.
New Orleans is a 5 and 17.
New Orleans
they got
is
quarterback
down to
issues.
Taysom Hill.
Right. So none of these teams scare me. Seattle?
No.
You know what I mean? It's like none of these teams scare me. So I don't think they're. I think San Francisco and Washington are just a victim of the circumstances of this season and how it's gone in a weak NFC. It's so top heavy, and then after that, you just have your mid to lower tier teams.
Yeah. The AFC is much more thick in the middle.
Correct, because if you look at the AFC, you got a slew of teams who are either at 500, a game over, or maybe a couple of them game under. I'm like, Indianapolis is on the outside looking in, and they're 7-6. Pittsburgh's the same way. They're over there 6-5-1, and they're still outside looking in.
But just to clarify at least on why I think it's Atlanta, I mean, you look at all those teams that you just mentioned, right? Carolina's got quarterback problems. They've got an identity crisis. New Orleans is in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles are down to Gardner Minshew at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Gardner, and I think he can play well. I don't think he's a playoff quarterback by any means, but now if he gets hot, that's a whole other story. But I look at all those guys right now, and I really think Matt Ryan, just out of pure experience, has the best shot to win out.
Atlanta's,
like you said, his biggest competition is Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, come on.
Atlanta's next 5 games at Carolina this Sunday,
Ooh.
at San Francisco,
Ooh.
back home against the Lions. There should be a dub. On the road at Buffalo.
Okay.
And then back home to finish the season against the Saints. There is at least 2 losses here. I think the 49ers defense is good enough to contain them. And I think Buffalo's defense is also good enough to contain them. And it's on the road.
I think they lose in Buffalo regardless. That's a bad game for Atlanta to have to come up to Buffalo.
I think they can pull it out on the road at Carolina. I think they will beat the Lions. This one I'm not sure about at home against the Saints to finish up the year.
But that game might be the one that puts them in the playoffs.
Yeah, it could be.
Because if they
win that game
right now, if they beat Carolina,
if they win 3 of the next 5, they'll be 8-7.
Yeah.
Or no. They'll be 8-9.
10-7.
No, because they're 5-7 right now.
Oh yeah.
If they win 3 of the next 5, they'll be 8-9, which could get them in the playoffs still. But I'm just looking at the schedule. So my contender, and what I think as of right now, the way I'm looking at it, I gotta go with Tampa. They're the defending world champs. All these people talk about Aaron Rodgers not gonna lose the NFC Championship 2 games in a row. I'm just saying.
Who's not going to the NFC Championship?
Tampa? They are the defending champs.
So,
I don't bet against Tom Brady.
Yeah, man.
Period.
2 decades of
Period.
2 decades of losing against Tom Brady.
I don't do it.
Should
Too
teach you a
old.
lesson.
Too old, but yeah, he's still winning Super Bowls. He's got 6. He's on pace to win 7. They have Washington in the first round of the wild card game.
He's got 7.
Does he have 7?
He's got 7.
How many win in New England?
6.
6. There, he's got
6 in New England.
7. Okay, that just even buffers my point. I don't bet against him. Okay, you get Washington as a wild card game. They're going to be sleepwalking through that game.
Just like last year.
Goodness gracious.
And
then they would play. And then depending on how the other games turn out, because the lowest seed will play Arizona. So I think Green Bay is going to smack the floor.
I think LA
If Green Bay plays San Francisco in the first round, Green Bay is going to smack the floor with San Francisco. Tampa should be Washington, and I think LA will beat Dallas. So then LA will go play Arizona.
Yeah.
And then Green Bay plays Tampa. It's not even an NFC Championship game. That is a divisional round game where Tampa will win, LA would beat Arizona, and it would be Tampa, LA for the NFC Championship.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers loses twice in the playoffs at home to Tom Brady. I know Brady's the GOAT. I know, and I'm not.
You're right, because
I'm not going to bet against him. I'm not going to bet against him.
I think Green Bay is going to slip up at some point, and Tampa will overtake that 2 or 1 seed. Look at the schedule. Let's look at it.
Who do the Packers play? Finish the year.
Packers have the Bears. Oh my goodness, Bears is Sunday night.
Dub.
I think there's a potential they could lose this game at
it's a 50-50
Baltimore.
game.
They're going to beat the Browns.
Dub.
Could. I'm not 100% sure on
I
this.
think they're not going to lose to Minnesota twice. And they're at home.
Did they lose to Minnesota earlier this year?
Yeah, they lost.
And then they'll beat the Lions.
And then they're going to beat the Lions for sure.
So there's, let's see. What?
Green Bay should win out.
I'm calling this a loss right here.
Okay, so they go 4-1.
So that puts them at 13-4.
Yeah.
That could be enough to get you the number 1 seed if Arizona slips at some point.
Well, who's the Cardinals?
Because
the
Arizona...
Cardinals don't have an easy schedule to finish the year. They got to play the Rams and the Seahawks.
Yeah, I know. And that's what...
And the Seahawks ain't going to go down easy.
That's my point. Because
and
if you look
Colts?
at Arizona, they got the Rams, they have the Lions, they have the Colts, they have the Cowboys, and they have the Seahawks.
That's a brutal
I think Arizona's losing this game here.
I do too.
On Monday night.
Yeah,
I'm calling it right now. Even though Arizona is a 2.5-point favorite, I am calling the Rams are going to win Monday Night Football. They should beat the Lions, which will put them at 11-3. The Colts, that's another Sunday night game. That's on Christmas Day. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this game. As we get closer, we'll see. Cowboys, I think Arizona should beat the Cowboys on the next week. That's the next day after New Year's Day.
Is that in Dallas?
It's in Dallas.
Kyler Murray is returning home?
Yeah, I think Arizona will win that. And then you finish up the season at home against the Seahawks. So...
which is a harder game than it sounds.
Yes. So, depending on how well the Seahawks are playing, or if they're going to be fighting for anything at that last game, or if they're going to be out. We don't know. So, sorry. As of right now, I'm rolling with Tampa. I give Tampa the slight edge. I think Green Bay is right there on their heels. They both have 9-3 records.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting how these 3 teams play out. I don't think Dallas can get any higher than a 4.
No.
Because they're sitting at 8-4 and they're not playing.
Who did Dallas play to finish up the year?
I mean, Dallas is playing mediocre football at best. I don't know why they keep giving the ball to Ezekiel Elliott. But that's another story for another day.
Put Tony Pollard in the game.
Well, Tony Pollard should be getting a lot of the carries.
Tony Pollard's starting in my fantasy team this week.
The only thing Dallas has working for them right now is the fact that they have a really favorable schedule down the stretch. You have to still play Washington twice. Then you have to play the Giants. You play Arizona, and you play the Eagles. So I don't care what anybody says. Divisional games are always the hardest. And they don't ever sweep on divisional games. They don't.
But it's that division.
I know. I think they'll beat the Giants. I think they'll split with the Washington football team.
Yeah.
I think they're losing Arizona, and I think that Eagles game is going to be tougher than expected. It's going to be on the road in Philly. That's what I'm saying.
Who knows, man? Maybe they'll have Gardner Minshew in there, and Minshew Mania might come back.
They already beat the Eagles earlier. So back in week 3, they beat the Eagles. And then the Giants always play them well. It's a divisional rivalry. But they did whoop on the Giants earlier in the season. So we'll see. They do play Washington this Sunday. Washington's rolling, man. They've won 3 in a row. So I'm just throwing it out there. I think Washington is better than what people recognize them to be. And I think hopefully they stay. I would like to see them succeed. That's just me. But at the same time, I want to see some competition. I don't think Washington playing Tampa in the first game of the wild card weekend is very good competition in my eyes. Get to a few other topics though. The college football playoff is set. Not the way I wanted it to turn out, especially with Alabama destroying Georgia in the SEC championship game, which basically solidified them as the number 1. I really, really thought that Georgia was going to slide to the 4th spot, seeing that Cincinnati won their conference. Michigan beat Iowa handily. And they were the only team out of the top 4 that lost on the weekend. But it didn't matter because now you got Alabama's number 1 seed. They will be playing. All the bowl games are announced, all of them. But you will have the semifinal game between Alabama and Cincinnati. That's going to be played in the Cotton Bowl. Georgia, the number 3 seed, slid down to number 3 from the number 1 spot. They'll be playing Michigan in the Orange Bowl. And the winner of those two games will be playing for the national championship. What are your thoughts on the the playoff.
I mean, it's awesome to see Cincinnati in there. It's fun to see.
100%.
It's fun to see a non-Power 5 team, get their way in, and I think that really shows a lot of kind of humility on the committee's part to realize that kind of like UCF was a few years ago, right? You can't forget about all these other teams, right? There's big fan bases for these schools.
Yep.
I think Michigan's the dark horse, to be honest, though, about this whole playoff. I think they're playing real good football. They, Harbaugh being able to go and eat up Ohio State this year is obviously big, and then what they did to Iowa in the championship game, I think, really kind of solidified their place in this race. Now, the question is always, and what I think always is every year at this point, it feels like is Bama. Is what Bama are we going to get, right? Are we going to get the Bama that's going to steamroll right through this entire playoff, or are they gonna have their hands full with a team like Cincinnati that I think a lot of people think they're gonna overestimate?
Yeah, I agree. Big shout out to Michigan. That Ohio State game propelled them to this. I mean, if they would have lost that game, it would have been firings and a slew of criticism all over the land. And now Michigan has a shot. A real legit shot, because Alabama kind of set the blueprint on how to beat Georgia. Georgia still has an amazing defense.
Oh, yeah.
But Michigan is dynamic offensively that they might be able to expose them and beat Georgia and get to that. I don't think Cincinnati has. I mean, I am hoping that Cincinnati can make a game competitive against Alabama and maybe pull out an upset. I'll be cheering for them. Do I realistically think that Cincinnati is going to beat Alabama? There's no way. I don't think so. But I will be rooting for them. Some other college games to note for these the bowl season is about to get underway here pretty soon, as the first bowl game start on the 17th. Big shout out to Pac-12. I mean, so we got the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl between Utah State and Oregon State. That'll be great. What other Pac-12 teams made it? Ooh, this one will be good. I was looking at the where'd it go? I just had it on here. Oh yeah, the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. These names.
What
the
happened
San
to the Holiday
Diego
Bowl?
This is the Holiday Bowl.
I know, but what happened when they just called it the Holiday Bowl?
It's between. This one's on December 27th. It's UCLA versus North Carolina State.
That's a good game.
That should be a good game. We already know Oregon's going to be under the Alamo Bowl against Oklahoma.
Oh yeah.
Oregon with a loss at the Pac-12 championship. Basically, we're just like, oh boy. Which gets me to Utah.
Yeah.
Utah will be playing in the Rose Bowl.
Wazoo, baby.
They're playing
Miami.
Utah's playing over Ohio State in the Rose Bowl.
Oh.
Washington State's playing Miami in the Sun Bowl. I have a friend of mine at work thought that Washington State was going to make it to Vegas Bowl. I was like, who are you tripping? I don't know what you're talking about. But they only bring competitive teams to the Vegas Bowl.
Yeah.
But I would say overall, and in Wisconsin, here's a real Vegas Bowl: Wisconsin and Arizona State. The Vegas Bowl now, because the Vegas Bowl is in Alliance Stadium in Vegas, is a big event, and I don't care who's playing. I would like to go. So, but Wisconsin and Arizona State, that should be a competitive game. So the Pac-12 is really represented all around in these bowl games. But what I wanted to get into now, we only got a few minutes of time here, is UFC. We got a big fight coming up this weekend. As UFC, which one is it? 268? Am I right? 269. 268 was last week. Olivier versus Poirier, December 11th, live from Vegas. We got a double main event. Well, I think it's a double main event, but you got two championship matches. This is the whole main card here, but the Amenia Nunez versus Julianna Pena for the bantamweight title. That's a big match. The Sean O'Malley and Pavia match is really good. That's a bantamweight title match. Well, it's not a title match, but it has implications on the title. But I'm a big fan of Sean O'Malley. It's going to be a good pay-per-view this weekend, so I'll be looking forward to that. Big shout-out to Holly Holm is going into the Boxing Hall of Fame this year. Big congratulations to her. Holly Holm is not only a former USC champion, but she is a legend in the boxing arena for women. So big shout-outs to her. Big fight this weekend. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? I think we're going to have a new light heavyweight champion, but we'll see. I think Poirier is on a roll since that Conor McGregor fight from a few months ago in Vegas. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, he was next in line.
He's been on the come up for a minute. I mean, people have been talking about they've been talking about Poirier for years as maybe somebody who can be the next guy in that division, right? Someone that can fill the shoes that, I hate to say it, but McGregor has kind of left void since his days of dominance.
Yeah, Poirier is the favorite coming out of Vegas going into this weekend's fight. So big fight this weekend, 2 championship matches. If you watched last weekend, big shout out Jose Aldo Jr. with the win. He's a bantamweight now, so he dropped in weight, but he had a good match. It was a good fight night all the way around. But this is a big hard weekend, so I will be watching this weekend for sure. And then also big shout out to Johnny Gargano, and the rest of the Black and Gold squad on NXT for this pay-per-view this weekend. War Games was amazing. Besides the women's matches, which was there was only one women's match. It was the first match of the night. It was kind of slowed the pace down a little bit, but the rest of the matches, the rest of the night was awesome. It was a great event. Big shout out to Johnny Gargano. I know his contract is coming up pretty soon, so it'll be interesting on where he goes. If he's going to go to AEW or if he's going to re-sign with WWE is yet to be unknown, but he laid it out there tonight during the show. So I'll be keeping it updated. I'll keep you guys updated on that. And then finally, the trailer for the Matrix Resurrections, the new trailer. Now, when I watched it tonight or this morning, it started off like it was the same thing from the last one. I was like, okay, another Matrix trailer or whatever. But you kind of get a glimpse in the story, and based on what I saw, I think the storyline is going to be based around Trinity this time. Mm-hmm. A lot. She was the main focus in this trailer. If you haven't seen it, watch it. I can even post up a link on the Instagram or YouTube or Facebook page, whatever. Or you can subscribe, and then I can send you the link.
The links will be in the description for show.
Exactly. It was very interesting. I don't know if you saw it or not. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I saw this one. I mean, it's like every Matrix trailer in a way where it's so vague.
Very.
That it really just leaves you sitting there like, well, we'll find out when we get there. But you're right. I think Trinity coming out of the last, obviously trilogy of the Matrix was probably one of the more forgotten about characters and a super important storyline to everything that happens.
Yep.
And I think that's from a lot of outcries of the fans. And obviously, they're not going to bring the Matrix back and do it wrong. Mm-hmm. Keanu Reeves didn't sign up for it to do it wrong. So I think that's what's. I'm not worried. It's going to be great.
I think there's some people who have hesitations because I know there's some people that didn't like the last 2 Matrix movies.
Yeah, but
which I don't understand.
I feel like those people aren't big into the Matrix then. Because it's the whole idea of it is the concept, right? That's what it's like. Are we in reality or are we in the simulation?
Yeah, you're right.
So
I agree with that 100%. And I don't know. I'm excited for it. It's one of my movies I had on my list for months when I've been talking about it. This and Spider-Man. I've been ad nauseum about Spider-Man coming out. Mm-hmm. And I now have my tickets. Now, I do have my tickets to the Matrix. It's, again, I don't know if I'm going to go to the movies and see it twice because it will be available on HBO Max. So I'll probably go to the movies the first time and watch it and I'll probably stay home the second time and watch it again probably the next night.
I'm gonna watch it on my couch. You know, where beer can be in my hand, and I don't have to go to some special movie theater and pay extra money to have a beer in my hand. You know what I mean?
I like it. But with Spider-Man, that is not the case. That is only in movie theaters.
That's a theater event.
Yes. And so I will be there live and clear on December 17th.
This is like the first real big Marvel movie since Endgame. Like, at least with the hype that's around it, because it didn't feel like the last Spider-Man movie was all that in comparison.
Well,
that's just my opinion.
We haven't had a lot of Marvel. There's been a lot of shows.
Yeah, a lot of TV.
I mean, if you look on Disney Plus, you got WandaVision, and they came out with Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Loki, and then now Hawkeye is out. They did come out with Black Widow, which was actually really good.
Yeah.
That was an excellent movie. And if anybody has not seen that movie, I suggest you do it. It is on Disney Plus, so if you're looking for a good movie to watch, Black Widow was excellent. It was very
good to know.
Underrated. So next week we're gonna recap Week 14 of the NFL. We're not going to have any college football to speak of because none of the bowl games get started until the week after, because bowl season starts on the 17th. But we'll recap the USC fight, recap Week 17. We'll have some NFL stuff, some NBA stuff.
That's like when the holidays really start.
Yeah.
When bowl season starts, that's when like you get in the spirit.
Bowl season and then Christmas, you have a slew of NBA games. And also, big shout out to Lance. Hope you're doing better. Go to the FundMe page and donate if you can. Also, like, subscribe, and share this page. And follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us wherever we're at. Everywhere. Just follow us.
In your faces. Maybe not in your face.
Any last words?
No, thanks for having me. Much appreciated. Shout out to the Offtop family for having me here today. It's feel very home and at welcome. Love talking sports as always with Big Corey over here.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's getting down to nitty gritty now. I mean, in the next few weeks, as we creep closer to the playoffs, I mean, we're gonna really dissect these teams and see, because there's gonna be some games with the playoff implications, and I have a feeling that it's going to come down to some of these head-to-head matchups, and in some of these cases, it might come by divisional rankings.
Yeah, man, I think divisional games are going to be the key here at the end. Everybody's got at least 2 or 3, so
So
win or go home.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share the page, and we will talk to you guys next week. Until then, peace.
Peace.
This is